So in the today's lecture, we are going to do the topic of your extreme values and saddle points for function fxy. So before that, we will be here have a short review of local extreme values of single variable function. So before proceeding for your extreme values of function fxy, we must see that what are the main points while we find the local extreme values of a single variable function. So let us start with the local maxima minima of function fx. So the main motive behind reviewing these points for local extreme values of your single variable function is that so that you can correlate the things with the extreme values of two variable function. So local maxima minima, he says fx is said to have, you know this very well, have local maxima. We are here discussing local maxima at point x equals to c of its domain, say AB, if fc is less than equal to fx, for all x in some open interval containing c. So this is first your definition for local maxima of any function, single variable function fx, that we say it is a point of local maxima if this condition at that point holds for all x in some open interval containing c. So this is your local maxima, and for this one we can represent here by simple graph that what are the local maxima and local minima, like this one, see. So if it is your a1, this is a2, this is say a3, corresponding to these points on this is say y equals to fx curve, and these are the corresponding points, then clearly you can see the point here A, point here C, B, these are the points of your local maxima. Why? Because about this point A1 I can always find some open interval. Why these are local maxima? Because about this point A1 I can always find some open interval, say about point A1 I can always find some open interval, say B1, B2, such that this point is a point of local maxima that has value greater than every other value of function in that interval. Similarly for point B, we can say it is a point of local maxima. And for local minima, you have fc less than equal to fx for all x in some open interval containing c. So here in case of local minima you can see this point C. A and B, they are the points here of local maxima. C is a point of local minima because about point C, which on the x-axis is represented by A2, I can always define some open interval about the point A2 such that this point C the function has minimum value at this point C. So we are not here saying the absolute maxima or global maxima or absolute minima or global minima. We are just discussing local minima. So when we are switching to absolute or global maxima minima, then we see that where is the point, what is the point where the function can have maximum or minimum value in whole of the domain whatever has been given. So in this case, in the figure here, you can see point A represents your absolute or global maxima. Point A. Point A, you can write it as your A1, FA1. You can have the coordinates to this point like this one. This is our local maxima. And for local minima, you have here, absolute minima. This is the absolute minima. This is absolute minima. So point, say this is D. Point D is your absolute minima. Absolute minima. That in whole domain that is given to you, the function where the point where the function can have minimum value. So that is the absolute minima. And in case of local maxima, we just look for some interval about which the function can have maximum or minimum value. Similarly, this will be also your local minima. This will be also your local minima. So endpoints, they can also be maxima or minima. Now, coming to the another thing, that how to locate these maxima or minimum value, how to locate local maxima and minima. So for that we have your first derivative. So we just come to know what are local maxima minima. You have already read this, what they are and what the difference between absolute or global maxima minima and your local maxima minima. So derivative theorem for your local extreme value. For local extreme value. So it says that, so this is the first theorem that will tell you that if you have a maximum minima at some point, what the characteristic that function will show at the given point of maximum minima. So it says if fx has local maxima or local minima at some interior point of its domain, and f dash is defined as x equals to c, then you know very well derivative at that point is your 0. So this is your first derivative theorem. We tell you that if point is a point of local maxima or minima, and most importantly f dash is defined at that point. Most importantly, f dash is defined at that point, then the derivative of that function at the given point of maxima minima will always be equal to 0. So this is your first derivative theorem. However, if a point is local maxima minima, then it is not always necessary. It is not always necessary that f dash will be equal to 0. It may be possible that f dash is undefined there. So you know this very well, that whenever there is a maximum minima and f dash is defined, and then you have maximum minima. If you have maximum minima and f dash defined, then derivative is 0. What the other thing he says, that it is not always necessary that if you have a local maximum minima, then it will always exist only where f dash is defined and derivative is 0. For an example, you take fx equals to mod x, and you can see in this case at x equals to 0, f dash is not defined. But you have minima at x equals to 0. But you have minima at x equals to 0. So this, your point indicates that you can also find local maximum minima at the points where f dash is undefined. So this concept that maximum minima can also exist at the point where f dash is defined gives you one more definition of critical points that combines these two cases of f dash defined or where 0 and f dash undefined. So critical points, he says, are those points interior points, I must write here, are those interior points in the domain of fx where either f dash is 0. So he is now calling all those points where either f dash is 0 or f dash is undefined as your critical point. So all those interior points in the domain of fx where f dash is 0 and where f dash is undefined, we call those as your critical points. So basically this will now help you to find that where the local maximum minima can be, So this gives you one of the very important statement that only points where extreme values of fx exist are first your critical points. Critical points means the interior points of the domain, whatever the domain you have been given, its interior points where f dash is either 0 or f dash is undefined. And secondly, the end points. If you have been given some domain or something, your interval, closed interval say AB, then the endpoints A and B can also be the probable candidate for local maxima minima. So this is one of the important things that tells you that where you should look for the local maxima minima for the given function fx. So these are the points that we will correlate while we will be dealing with the extreme values of your two variable function. Okay, so when we will be dealing with the extreme values of two variable function, this theory will be now simply replicated with some changes for two variable functions. Now there is a thing that if a point is a critical point, then it is not necessary that it will always be point of extrema. That is, if you know the given point x equals to c is a critical point, that is here f dash is 0 or undefined, then it is not necessary that it always will be going to be a point of extrema. It may be possible that it is a point of your inflection. It may be possible that it is a point of inflection. So if you have function derivative 0 at some point, its derivative undefined at some point, it is not going to be necessary that you will have definitely maximum minima here. For an example, say y equals to x cubed. You have y dash is equals to 3x squared, y dash equals to 0 at x equals to 0, but no maxima minima at x equals to 0. You can see x equals to 0 is a critical point. Why? Because for y equals to x cubed at x equals to 0, y dash or f dash is 0. But you can clearly see from the figure at x equals to 0, you do not have any maxima minima. Instead, rather it is a inflection point. Similarly, if you say y equals to x 1 by 3, this graph is something like this one. Again, y dash is 1 upon 3 x 2 by 3, At x equals to 0, y dash undefined. no maxima minima at x equals to 0. Clearly you can see here, again y dash is undefined. However, you can see from the figure for this function, you have no maximum minima at x equals 0. So they clearly indicates another point, that is what we call as inflection point. So there is a probability in such cases that you will have an inflection point there. So what is your inflection point? Just in brief, inflection point, because as we are doing here inflection point, similarly in the case of your two variable function, not exactly, but we will have a concept of saddle point. We will have a concept of saddle point that correlates to your inflection point. So inflection point is a point. Inflection point is a point where, first thing, concavity changes. If on one side of the point it is concave up, then other side it should be concave down. If on the one side it is down, then other side it will be concave up. F double dash greater than 0, F double dash on the other side less than 0. And the most important thing, Fx has tangent line. Fx has tangent line at that point. It should not be a point that there is no tangent line at the point. We should be able to draw tangent line, or it should exist at the given point, which we are going to say that it is an inflection point, and here only concavity changes. Because only on the basis of the concept that the concavity changes and you say that it is an inflection point, no, it is no longer true, because in some of the cases it with your cusp or corner. Okay, so in such cases you must be very careful that the concavity changes, because in that case is not cusp, I say, but in the cases of your corner, it can be a corner. So if Fx has tangent line at that point, that ensures that yeah, it is your inflection point. And also the important thing about inflection point is that at the point of inflection y double dash is 0 or undefined. Whatever the point is given, if it is inflection point, double derivative is also always going to be 0 or undefined. However, converse is not always true. Converse is not always true. So with this, now we shift to the second derivative test. For local extreme values of function fx. So now here we are ending the concept or review of extreme values of single variable function with this last theorem, that is your second derivative test for local extreme values. It says if your f double dash is continuous on an open interval that contains C and f dash C is equal to 0, then if f double dash C is less than 0, f has your local maxima. F has local maxima at x equals to C. If f double dash at point C is greater than 0, f has local minima at x equals to C. And finally, if double dash at point C equals to 0, test fails. You can't apply this test for finding the maximum minima. Then you must go for checking the sign variation of f dash about that point x, that what is the sign of f dash on its left and on its right. That will tell you the maximum minima of that given point, if that exists. So test fail, and fx can have local maxima or minima or neither. In such cases, it can be any. It can have both maxima minima or none of the maxima minima. So this completes a review for your first derivative, review for the extreme values of single variable function. Now we come to our main topic that we are supposed to do in this your lecture. So now I am coming to local maxima and local minima of fxy. Now we are coming to the local maximum minima of function fxy, two variable function. So the things now what we have done just before for extreme values of single variable function, now you can easily correlate the things with the function in two variables. So fx, earlier you have fx that represents a curve in xy plane, and now f or z equals to fxy represent surface. Now it represents surface in three-dimensional space, x, y, z. So now you are working with function fxy that generates surface, and for surface in 3D now you have to identify its extreme values, what are local maxima, local minima. So first of all, let me give you the definition. A function fxy has local maxima at point AB if the value of function at that point is greater than or equal to value of every other function at every other point in some open disk. So what is this? So first is this relation should hold. The value of function should be greater than or equal to fxy for all the domain points. Xy in some open disk centered at point AB. So this will give you the local maximum of the given function, that if this relation holds for all the points xy in some open disk centered at AB. This is open disk means open circular disk. This we have done earlier in the first lecture, where we did some of the, not in the first lecture, but where we did some of the definition related to your two variable functions. So what is it says? Say you have here x-axis and y-axis, and this z-axis is coming out of the plane, and say you have this surface here. This is your surface, or let me just draw it like this one. Hold on. Let me take this as x-axis, this is y, and this as your z-axis out of the plane. Now, say I draw this surface. This is a surface. fxy. So he says that if since some point AB is here, so this is point AB is on xy plane. It is a point on xy plane. So according to this page, if he says if I have some maximum minima about this point AB on the surface fxy, then the value of function at AB must be greater than or equal to every other function that corresponding to this point. I must have some open disk about this point AB. I must have the value of FAB, the value of function at AB, greater than every other value of the function for all xy that lies in this open disk around the point AB. So if that is possible, remember that in the case of single variable function, we were saying that FC the value of function at c greater than or equals to fx for some open interval about the end point. Remember that there you have point c and then open interval say c1, c2. You take interval c1, c2 that contains your point c. So the u bar since they are in on x-axis. So you just take the open interval c1, c2 and say fc greater than fx for open interval, any open interval about c. You must be able to locate at least one open interval. Similarly, in this case of two variable function, now since you are in points, your points are in xy plane. So when you have point AB in xy plane, then you can't say that you take values along x-axis or y-axis. You must draw an open circular disk around that point, and in that circular disk the value of function at AB must be greater than or equal to the value of every other value at every other point. So this is your local maxima. Similarly, for local minima, I'm not just writing in detail, Fa is less than or equals to Fxy. Again, for all xy in an open disk or circular disk, because disk is basically circular always, open circular disk centered at AB. And this is what I explained you just before, that what is the meaning of this for all xy in an open circular disk centered at AB. It is similar to what we have done for the single variable function where we have taken open interval. Here, since we are in xy plane, we are considering open circular disk. Now we come to the theorem that will tell you that if the function has a maximum minimum, what condition or property it shows. So for that we have first derivative test for local extreme values. First derivative test for local extreme values. So it says if fxy has local maxima or local minima at some interior point AB of its domain and its first order. This theorem is similar to what we have done the theorem for a single variable function, and its first order partial derivative exists there, then you must have the partial derivative at the given point. Both partial derivatives must be equal to 0 simultaneously. So this is your first derivative theorem. In case of single variable, you have f dash c equals to 0. But since now you have two variable functions, so you must be having two partial derivative, one with respect to x, the other with respect to y. So for the point AB, if you have a local maximum minimum of function fxy at that point AB, then at that point the partial derivatives of a for a function at x and with respect to y both must be equal to 0 simultaneously. So this is your first derivative theorem. Again we have the critical point. Same is the concept that it may be possible that a point is a point of local maxima or minima, but there f dash is not 0, but it is undefined. So on this basis, he says critical points are those points, he is clubbing these two conditions and says are those points in the domain of fxy where first both fx and fy are 0, or I think your both the partial derivative must be equal to 0 simultaneously, that we did in the earlier theorem. Another thing, both or one of the partial derivative do not exist or undefined. The second condition, similar to what we have done for single variable function, critical points where f dash is 0 and f dash undefined. Since two variables you have partial derivative, so here he says that critical points are those where either you have the partial derivative simultaneously equals to 0, or one of the partial derivative or both partial derivative are undefined at the given point. So that point will be called as a critical point. Now he says, very important, this gives you the concept that here you should look for the extreme value. So he says, so only points where function fxy can have extreme values. So this gives you the idea that for a given function fxy, whatever the function is given, if you have to look at its extreme values, what points you should look for. So those points are, first is your critical point, and second are your boundary points. Remember that in the case of single variable function, we have critical points and end points, because there you have open interval or interval AB. So there you have your endpoint. But now since you have your xy plane, so you have a domain. Domain, it will be given in any of the form. So whatever the boundary of that domain is, its boundary points may also be the probable candidates for your maxima minima. This boundary is basically on the xy plane. So you have been two now points where you can check the extreme values for fxy, critical point, where derivatives, both partial derivatives simultaneously 0, or one of the partial derivative or both are undefined, and other are the boundary points. If the boundary is given, if the boundary of the given function fxy on which it is defined is given. Okay, so this completes your critical points and the points where we must be looking for your extreme values. Now we have the thing that, as we did in the case of single variable function, not every critical point gave rise to local extreme values. That is, if a point is a critical point, it is not necessary that it will always be a point of local maximum minimum, as we did in the case of single variable. There it was told you that it can be a point of inflection. So here we say there may be a saddle point. There may be a saddle point. So what is your saddle point? Let me write it on the next page. First, before explaining you what is saddle point. Okay, so I am taking here saddle point to this slide. So if a function you have been given and you locate it one of the critical points and say that that critical point is going to be the point of maxima or minima, it is not always true. It can be a saddle point. So what is saddle point? A differentiable function fxy has a saddle point at a critical point AB if in every disk, in every open disk centered at AB, there are domain points xy where fxy is greater than FAB, and also domain points where fxy is less than FAB. Then the corresponding point A, B, FAB z coordinate on the surface z equals to fxy is called saddle point of surface. Yes. So this is the definition of your saddle point. The saddle point is basically a point AB. If it is a critical point, we say that if about that point AB, we can always found some domain points in an open disk. That if you take point AB in xy plane, you draw an open disk about that point and look at the surface, then you must always be getting some points. For which that point is a point of local maxima. In a same open disk, you are getting some domain points where that point AB is a point of local minima, and in same open disk you will also find some domain points where that point AB is a point of local maxima. That it happens simultaneously, side by side. The point AB is also point of local maxima for some domain points in the same open disk, and it is also point of local minima for the same open disk in same domain point for some domain point. How it is so? So you can, I am just drawing, or simply you can see the best example for the saddle points are your saddle. Saddle means घोड़े की काठी. So the saddle is basically, in Hindi it is called your घोड़े की काठी. So the shape of the saddle point usually comes from that, the saddle point is usually found in those type of shapes where you have saddle-like shape. For an example, let me draw here a figure that will make you clear. Yes, this is okay. So say this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis, and this surface drawn is in 3D above the xy plane. Okay. So now you can see if here is a point, say AB, if I draw open disk about this point AB in plane xy, okay, and z is coming out of this plane, then you can see about this point here, because since in 3D, if you look at this value, if you look at this thing, then this point is a point of local minima. However, in the same disk, above the same disk, if you look at this thing, then it is a point of local maxima. So both things are here hold simultaneously. Local maxima, the point AB is also a point of local maxima for some domain points in the same open circular disk, and it is also a point of local minima for some domain points in same open circular disk. So such points are called saddle points. So here the shape is something like this one because it is a surface. So here it is local minima, for here it is local maxima. So last thing that we are now going to do, that how to find these local extreme values, because till now we are now got the facts that what are local extreme values in case of your two variable functions. We have to find them and what are your saddle points. Now the next thing, the very important that we are going to use in our numerical questions, that how to find those extreme values. So for that we are going to use your second derivative test for your local extreme value. Second derivative test for local extreme value. So it says suppose fxy and take first and second order partial derivative, are continuous throughout an open disk, centered at AB, and partial derivative of the function with respect to x and y at point AB are 0. Then, so you suppose first and second partial derivative of function are continuous throughout an open disk about point AB. Point AB that we are going to check for maxima, minima. Okay. So now we have taken that partial derivatives are 0 there simultaneously. Then he says fxy has local maxima at AB if f double derivative less than 0 and this term f double partial derivative is equal to x dot f double partial derivative is equal to y minus square of double partial derivative of f with respect to x and y is greater than 0 at point AB. That at point AB, this must be greater than or equal to 0 and this must be greater than less than 0. Then it is sure that you have local maxima at that given point. So this term is called your fxy ka whole square. This can be obtained from the discriminant. This one, sorry, not discriminant, determinant, and we call this as your discriminant. Discriminant of fxy or Hessian function. It is also called Hessian function or discriminant of fxy or Hessian. So if this is positive, whenever we are doing the question, we first locate the discriminant, Hessian. Secondly, fxy has local minima at AB if the discriminant is greater than 0 and double partial derivative is equal to x is your greater than 0, sorry, it is greater than 0 at point AB. So you have to find these values at point AB. In that case, you have local minima. So discriminant you can see is a positive, then you have maxima, and minima. Discriminant is your positive. And then we go forward to see the values of double partial derivative of f with respect to x. So if it is less than 0, you have local maxima. If it is greater than 0, you have local minima. And instead, if you do not want to use the partial double derivative of f with respect to x, you can go for the partial double derivative of y. Same hold for same thing your f double partial derivative y. That is, if you have f double partial derivative y less than 0, discriminant positive, local maxima, f double derivative greater than 0, f double derivative of y greater than 0, and discriminant greater than 0, you have local minima. And finally, fx, not finally, fx has a saddle point. You have local maxima, you have local minima, and for point that is saddle point, we say point A is a saddle point if the discriminant value is less than 0 at point AB. That is why we first always look for the discriminant value, because if it is positive, it is going to be local maximum minima. If it is negative, it is definitely saddle point. And finally, if this discriminant or Hessian is equal to 0, test is inconclusive. We have to use some other test to find the maximum minimum. In that case, the second derivative theorem test, or the second derivative test for finding extreme values of fxy fails. So this completes the theory for finding the local extreme values of function fxy. So in the next lecture, we will do some of the examples, like how to find the local extreme values of function fxy. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.